Hello, friends! Welcome back to Health Highlights, where I spend the time learning about all things health and bring you the highlights. What has over 200 names and is in more than 70% of our processed foods? You guessed it, sugar. One reason there are so many names for sugar is that food companies don't want sugar to be the first ingredient on their ingredients list, so they use 5 different names for sugar in their ingredients. Remember, when reading the ingredients on packages, they are in the order of the amount that's in the food. If sugar is the first ingredient, that means that food has more sugar in it than any other ingredient. It not only looks bad to have the first ingredient sugar, it is bad. Sugar is terrible for our bodies and has been proven to be addictive. A study gave rats the choice between cocaine and sugar. 94% of the rats chose sugar over cocaine. That's how addictive it is. Let me start with a quick history of our body's relationship with sugar. In our hunter-gatherer days, our bodies only saw sugar when fruit was available in the summer. Processed sugar has been around for a long time, but its consumption in the last couple hundred years has skyrocketed. In the beginning of the 19th century, people consumed 5 pounds of sugar per year. This is the equivalent of a can of Coke 1 time per week. That's it. By 1920s, it shot up to an average of 100 pounds per person per year. In the 1980s, it goes up even more due to the food pyramid that came out that said fat was bad. It recommended we eat more carbs and less fat. Remember all the Snackwell cookies? They didn't taste too bad, but that was because the fat was replaced with sugar. We actually thought we were eating healthy when we ate those. Now let's do a quick overview of the different forms of sugar. Sugar is sucrose. It is a simple carb, white, and is made of glucose and fructose, 50% of each. Glucose is metabolized by virtually every cell in the body. It gets into the bloodstream and signals insulin to be released, which tells cells to take glucose in for energy. Fructose is the sweetest of all carbs and is naturally occurring in food. Unlike glucose, fructose is not metabolized by every cell in the body. It goes to the liver to be metabolized. In high doses, it is converted to fat in the liver. The liver has evolved to see fructose in fruit, a very small amount, and comes with fiber, which slows the digestion of it. Once high fructose corn syrup was introduced into beverages, fatty liver, which was a disease of alcoholics, skyrocketed in everyone, even children. People drink these beverages all day long, between meals, and without the fiber to slow the digestion down. The body gets mass amounts compared to what it used to get, and it wasn't designed to handle this much. 90 million Americans have fatty liver disease, and this leads to heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. This is just the beginning. There are short-term and long-term effects of sugar. In the short term, when you consume sugar and your blood sugar spikes, glycation and oxidation can be produced. Glycation is a process where sugar sticks to things in the body, like fats, proteins, DNA, and can cause dysfunction. We don't need that. Also, it can cause inflammation. A huge surge of sugar is unusual for the body, and this change in homeostasis is unwanted. Blood sugar spikes can also cause oxidative stress, which is the body producing metabolic byproducts that are reactive and can be damaging to cells. Unpaired electrons go around and want to bind with things, kind of like what happens when metal rusts. Also, what happens during a glucose spike is an insulin surge. When you have that big of blood sugar spike, the pancreas releases all of this insulin to help soak up the glucose out of the bloodstream into the cells so it can be processed and bring the glucose blood levels back down. Sometimes insulin can overshoot and do too good of a job soaking up all of the glucose and cause a reactive hypoglycemia or the post-meal crash. Have you ever felt that tired crash after lunch? That could be from your glucose spiking, your pancreas releasing all of this insulin, overshot, and now you're in this dip and the body is trying to get back into balance. This leads to other issues like hunger hormones being released and cravings coming up. This insulin process over time can lead to insulin resistance. When cells see the huge insulin surge so frequently, they say, "We can't keep doing this. This is too much insulin," and they get numb from it. That is insulin resistance. Then insulin levels start rising, trying to overcompensate for that block by producing more insulin, and this leads to many of the chronic conditions we have today. Not only diabetes, but cancer, Alzheimer's, depression, heart disease, infertility, skin issues, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol, to name a few. Obesity is another condition a high level of insulin contributes to. Insulin is a signal to the body that glucose is around for energy, and it's also a signal that there is so much glucose that fat doesn't need to be used for energy. Glucose and fat are the two main ways our bodies produce energy. When insulin is high, it blocks us from tapping into our fat stores to burn for energy. This is relevant for anyone who wants to lose weight and fat around their belly. For us to tap into our fat storage, we need our insulin to be lower. By getting off of the glucose roller coaster, by eating food that keeps our blood sugar levels more flat and stable, is what we want for ultimate health. We give our bodies a break from producing insulin, which can significantly impact our ability to lose weight, belly fat, and use our alternative metabolic fuel source of fat. We can then generate metabolic flexibility, which is the ability of the body to flip between using glucose when it is around and using fat when it is around. This is a healthy adaptive state. Americans get most of their calories from ultra-processed food. 70% of processed food have refined sugar in them. If you are eating frequently all day long, your body never gets a break from the glucose roller coaster. As an American, you are on track to being overweight and have chronic disease unless you do something different. Americans are now eating 152 pounds of sugar on average every year. Much of it is in processed foods. Know that the blood glucose spiking and the insulin response is not just caused by sugar. The starch in processed foods does the same thing. As we've discussed in previous videos, it is important to eat whole, real foods. We need to avoid processed foods, including refined oils. See my video on what oils to avoid and which ones to eat. And give your taste buds time to change. Also, as we've discussed in previous videos, processed foods are purposely made to make you eat more of them. Eating smarter allows you to use science, not willpower, to overcome biology. Remember, food manufacturers are smart and have created 200 names for sugar. The confusion is real, so stick with whole, real food, reduce blood sugar spikes, and give your body the nutrition it needs to feel its best. No more after-lunch crashes. Like, subscribe, and click the bell to continue learning and get the power to make lifelong changes on your journey to health. If you want to learn more, check out the book Why We Get Sick by Benjamin Bickman, PhD, who discusses insulin resistance problems and how to improve them. Insulin resistance causes many chronic health issues, and learning how to improve this will greatly improve your health. I'm planning on diving deep into this in the future, but we'll include the link for this information now in the description bar for those interested. Let me know in the comments section what is working for you and other ideas you would like to learn more about. Until next time, here's to health!